For each question, they give me a model and they tell me what they want me to shade in. The model for number 1 says 4/10. How many pieces of this model should I shade in? How many pieces on this model should I color in? Noah, how many pieces of this model should I color in? Four. Okay. I'm going to color in 4 pieces. 1, 2,
What is that called again?
3, 4.
Mister?
Yes, ma'am.
What is that called?
This page or the packet?
Like a packet.
It says week 4, relating decimals to fractions. It's in everyone's packet. Okay, so we've got the 400ths. Sorry, not 400ths, 4/10ths. All right, 4/10ths. How would I write this as a fraction? What fraction would I write that would match this model? Violet? If it's messing up, Messiah, leave the call and come back. 4 out of 10. Okay, 4/10ths. Very good, Violet. Okay, but now I need a decimal. I want a decimal that would match that. Now remember, the denominator tells you what place value to use. If my denominator is a 10, what place value should I use? Yes, Jadine.
10.4.
Not 10.4. Listen to the question I'm asking. If my denominator is a 10, what place value should I use? Which one of my decimal place values should I use? Because we've talked about 2 of them.
100?
Should I use the hundredths if my denominator is a 10?
No, the tens.
The tenths. So I'm going to use the 10th place, the one right after the decimal. Now that we know what place value, who can tell me what number, what digit do you think belongs in that place value? What number is on top of my fraction? What's my numerator? Kylie? Four. 4 is my numerator. So Kylie, if 4 is the numerator, what number do you think is going to go into that 10th place? 4. If the numerator is 4, then the number 4 is going after my decimal. So I've used my numerator, I've used my denominator. What number should I use to fill up this blank space? Bradley? 0. I should use the number 0 to fill in that blank space. So my fraction is 4 out of 10, or 4/10. And my decimal is 4/10, or 0.4. Okay, model number 2. They give me the model, and on top it says 86 hundredths. How many of those little squares should I shade in? How many of these little squares do I have to color in? Alexa? Just 6 of them? No. What? What do I do to shade this in? No, not 6/10. You've got the right idea. So there's 6 little tiny squares, but I don't just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Look at that carefully. Jada, can you help her? Alexa's got the right idea, but it's not 6 lines. How many whole lines do I shade in? You remember now, Alexa? How many? 8. We have the number, or they told me to put the number 86 hundredths. So that means I need to shade in 86 little squares. Now the good thing is I don't have to sit here and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and keep counting all the way to 86. Because these are set up in rows of 10. So if I shade in one whole row or one whole line, that's 10. If I shade in 2, that's 20. And 30. And then 40. And then 50. 60. 70. 80. And then like you and like Jada said, after I shade in 8 whole lines, 8 whole rows, then I shade in the 6 little squares. So 8 whole lines, 8 whole rows, and then 6 little squares. So 8/10, 600.
That one's like a 90.
Nope, not a 90. Again, every row is 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86. It would be 90 if I finished coloring in the rest of that row. So almost 90, but not quite there. What about my fraction? What fraction would match this model that I have? If I wanted to write a fraction for this model, what would that fraction be? Bradley?
Over
86 over 100. 86 over 100. Okay. They also want a decimal, so I'm going to put the decimal point here already. Again, the denominator, the bottom number of my fraction, tells me which place values to use. If my denominator is 100, what decimal place values should I be using? Jadine?
10?
The 10, but do I only use the 10?
No, you put 10 and put the dot and then put 86.
Well, hang on. Listen to the question. If my denominator is 100, what decimal place values do I use? You said the 10th place, the one right after the decimal. Is that the only decimal place value that I use?
No.
No, what's the other one?
No, the hundredths.
The hundredths. So I need to use both the 10th and the 100th. Okay, so I know I'm going to use 2 places after my decimal. What digits, what numbers am I going to put in those place values? What numbers are going to go after my decimal? Violet?
0.86.
0.86. But I've got an empty space in front of the decimal. What number should I use to fill up that empty space? I don't just want to leave it there like that. What number could I put in the empty space? Noah? Zero. 0 is a perfect number for filling up an empty space because 0 means nothing. So even if I put that 0 in the empty space, I'm not going to be changing my number. So 0.86.